My name is Ryan Rembert. I'm 26 years old. I grew up here in the beautiful South Bay area. I have been a licensed real estate agent for over 5 years. Do the math, got started a little young. I believe I got my license right before I turned 21 is when I became an active agent. My personal life before real estate, it's a bit of a disaster, to be honest with you. I was one of those people, I think, learned a lot of hard lessons young and was able to kind of come out the other side, fortunately. When I was younger, my biggest ambition was to skateboard professionally, and as a teenager, it looked like that was the direction my life was headed. But what came along with that is I started, associating myself with some people who are older and into, some heavy stuff. And by the time I was 13, I was on my way to, picking up sponsorships and stuff like that. Like I said, I got mixed in with not the best crowd, and eventually, had a crazy life at home as well. It was like pretty difficult to manage for me. And anyways, ended up going down this pretty self-destructive path when I was really young, to be completely honest. School kind of stopped being important, started partying way too much, got involved with, narcotics and things like that just really brought my life down. By the time I was about to turn 18 years old, I dropped out of school. I really had no ambition, to be completely honest with you. I really wasn't sure what direction I was going. The only direction I could see myself going was kind of nowhere, So by the time I was 18, by this miraculous string of events, I ended up, getting away from that old lifestyle and getting to reinvent myself at a young age. So what made me want to sign up for Audi Real Estate School, interesting story. I was working as a server at the Shade Hotel in Manhattan Beach when I was younger, kind of living on my own since I was fairly young. And I was just working little restaurant jobs here and there, just trying to, get enough money together to figure something out. I ended up meeting Karthik. He sat down at my table at the restaurant. I'm pretty social. We started talking and asked him some questions about himself. So he asked me, what are you thinking about doing long term? I'm thinking about real estate. I'm not really too sure though, what that would entail, or, I was like a young, naive 20-year-old kid. So Karthik started laughing. He didn't say anything. And then we just talked throughout the rest of the evening. And then it seemed like on a whim at the very end of his night, he came up to me and was like, I wasn't going to tell you anything because I didn't want to seem like I was selling you anything, but I'll be honest, I run a real estate school down the street from here, and I wanted to personally invite you to come check it out this next Tuesday for free if you're available, 6:30 to 8:30. Those sort of God shot moments where the universe is just clearly pulling you a certain direction. I always try and intuitively follow those experiences, and every time there's always seems to be beautiful stuff on the other side. So going to the school, just kind of had this feeling that I was in the right spot. I found the material pretty easy, the way that Karthik explains everything in those classes, very interactive. He's got a funny personality too, if you know him pretty well. Anyone who does will agree with me on that. So, it was just this fun interactive thing I started saying after class and just asking more questions. And, I became really infatuated with this as an occupation throughout the schooling process. When I took the real estate exam, I think I killed it. I'll be completely honest without sounding too full of myself. I walked in there, I had over prepared. Every night I was just doing all the crash course material and studying, and I had my friends or my girlfriend at the time doing these flashcards and stuff and all that. So I went in there, I had no doubt in my mind I was gonna pass. I walked in with everybody, and then I finished my test in 40 minutes, was first one out, and passed right away and went home. So after I passed my exam, Keller Williams ended up seeming like the right option for me to start off, where their training is, pretty immersive. They just had a great training program. My first year, sold 7 houses at 20 to 21 years old, that period of my life, which I was so proud of. And at that point, I moved to Berkshire Hathaway, and I sold even more residential real estate. And then I ended up selling my first apartment building there. They called me here at Lionsall. They saw that I sold that apartment building recently, and that's what this brokerage specializes in. They called me. I came in for an interview. Immediately was really impressed by the culture. Everyone here works incredibly hard. After some reflection, I knew this was definitely the right place for me. My first deal, I had gotten fired from the only job I had at the time where I had any income. I was running out of money fast. And I met someone out of nowhere at this meeting I was at. Told him I was in real estate. He's like, oh, no way. I need to sell this condo in Newhall, which is canyon country. And I live in Torrance, but I was so hungry. I was like, oh, no way, great. I'll come meet you. When are you free? When are you free? Let's I was just hungry, And I set an appointment to go meet him that next week. He signed a listing contract. Ended up being the hardest transaction I've ever worked on. It was a $300,000 condo out in Canyon Country. But I was driving up there to Magic Mountain every weekend doing open houses Saturday, Sunday. It meant so much to me, that someone thought I was deserving of the opportunity to do that. Closed like right as I was running out of money, like to zero, and I got paid. And like it just kept me in the game for that next like opportunity to get the next one. And it was like that. Like the first few years, it was like right as that last commission check was running out, something would kind of come together like by some string of events that would keep me in the game, you know. And I was like, all right, I'm still in it, you know. And it just kept that fire. From the time I got my license to when I got my first commission check, I'd say it was about 9 months, which is a good amount of time to be working pretty hard, not have anything, you know, or not have anything come to you. Before real estate, I was making next to nothing, you know, whatever tips I could scrounge together for the night, you know. But I'd estimate like $26,000 a year. My first commission check was a whopping $3,500 after it was all said and done. You know, when you first get started though, it's understandable, you know, you have a mentor, then you got the brokerage, you got the fees, and like you don't really think about that. My income now in real estate compared to when I was working obviously in a restaurant has changed dramatically in the past 5 years. Especially as I've transitioned into commercial real estate. The most important freedom I've gained from real estate, having the freedom to create my own schedule, create my own source of income. You know, it's a beautiful thing when you're young and you get like a check written out to you for like $50,000. It like kind of perks your eyes up. You're like, wow, this is real. The freedom to just always be building your vision, I think is really the biggest freedom that could ever be extended to you. This client I work with, I just closed another triplex for him in Inglewood 4 months ago. So we purchased this, and then he's probably gonna have this renovated, stabilize it, because it was a bit of a distressed asset. And then once we get the rents up to market level, I'll probably be listing this in the next like 8 to 9 months is what my assumption would be, maybe a year if we get caught up with permits and stuff like that. We just closed this for 1.768, and I believe once we stabilize it, could get it sold hopefully close to 235 would be our goal. It's like I've gotten to travel all over the place. I just went on a dream surf trip to the Mentawai Islands in Indonesia. I was out there chartering all these islands with some of my best friends, like surfing perfect waves. And I got to do that with my schedule, you know, because of real estate. I have a partner who was able to run everything. We were closing deals while I was in Indonesia. I was making money. Got to go to Costa Rica on another surf trip. I had to cancel another surf trip this past week because I was too busy. But you know, I get an opportunity to get all over the place, and my biggest dream is music, and real estate is definitely funding me on that operation to market myself as an artist as well. I'm Ryan Rembert, and I graduated from Mahdi Schools.